Hey, all my fraction experts. So, we're going to talk about the operations that we've already done with mixed numbers. Now, what a mixed number is a whole number with the fraction beside it. I'm sure you already knew that. But the thing about mixed numbers is a lot of times in order to work with the mixed number, you have to make it into just one number on top and one number on bottom. And we're going to learn how to do that today. And we're also going to learn a few other tricks. But first, we're going to learn how to convert mixed numbers into improper fractions. This is going to end up being very important. Very, very important. So, first thing, we're going to start with a pretty basic mixed number. 2 and 1/2. Now, when you turn a mixed number into an improper fraction, what you do is you multiply the bottom and add the top. So we multiply the bottom and the big number. 2 times 2 is 4. And 4 plus the 1 on top is 5. So 2 and 1/2 equals 5 over 2, or 5 halves. So let's do another one. 4 and 3/4. Wow, that's a pretty big one. So we're going to multiply, then add. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 plus 3 is 19. 19, and we keep the number on the bottom, so 19 over 4. 19 fourths. Or sometimes it's just easier to say 19 over 4. Now, let's take a look at how that would look adding these numbers. And since we've already worked with these numbers, why don't we just do 2 and 1/2 plus 4 and 3/4. Alright. So there's a couple different ways to do this problem. But we're going to start with the way that I just showed you. So we're going to make both of these numbers into improper fractions. Times, plus. So 2 and 1/2, as we just discussed, is an improper fraction. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 plus 1 is 5. 5. And we just keep the 2 on the bottom. So 5 over 2 plus 4 times 4 is 16. 16 plus 3 is 19. 19 over 4. Okay, now we're at the step where we're adding just plain old fractions, but we have to find something. We have to find a common denominator. And the common denominator in this case is going to be 4. And the reason I know that is because 4 times 1 is 4. So we do the smaller one. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. So we got 4 and 4. So if 2 times 2 is 4, 5 times 2 is what? 10. So 10 goes on top. Plus, we already have 4 on the bottom, so there's nothing we need to do. So we just keep the 19 on top. Now we have common denominators. And what do we do with the denominator? Right, we bring it straight over. We do not add it. Then we add our numerators. 10 plus 19 is 29. Okay, now we've got an improper fraction. Now, I say when you're working with mixed numbers, which is what we started out with, take your improper fraction and make it back into a mixed number. That's what I would do. And I think that's the right way to do it. Now, if you don't, I don't think that it's going to really hurt you. Your teacher will probably count off some, but in the end, it'll be okay. But just for the sake of learning, I'm going to show you how to make it back into a mixed number. So we take the bottom, we put the bottom outside the house, and then we take the top inside the house. So 4 goes into 29 how many times? And I'm going to say 7. That kind of looks like a 2. So 7 times 4 is 28. 29 minus 28 is 1. So when we have the 1, we bring it over here and put it over the 4. So our answer is 7 1/4. 7 1/4. Now I'm going to show you another way that I think might be a little bit easier. However, this is the improper fraction method, and it works just fine. But we'll try the other way and see if it works to be the same thing, and see if it's easier for you. So 2 1/2 plus 4 3/4. So we got 7 1/4. 2 plus 4 is 6, and 6 is close to 7. So we've got a pretty good estimate. So let's see if we're right. So our common denominator is 4. 4, 4. 3/4 already has a 4 on the bottom, so we're just going to keep that. And 1/2 equals 2/4. So now we're going to add. 2 plus 4 is 6. We keep the bottom number. We keep the denominator. And we add the numerators. 2 plus 3 is 5. So we've got 6 5/4, and 5/4 is an improper fraction. So we say, how many times does 4 go into 5? Once. And we have 1 left over, so 1/4. But we have to add our 1 in. So our whole number is going to be 7 1/4. And that's the same thing as we got there. So there are 2 ways to do it. So if you didn't write that down, I would. Because believe it or not, 5th graders, history repeats itself. You're going to find that the first semester of 6th grade is going to be a recap of almost everything that you learned in 6th grade. So let's do another one of these problems. And the thing I like to do when I'm studying, and this is a helpful tip from Mr. Beatty, is make incredibly hard numbers, because you know if you can do incredibly hard numbers, you can do easy numbers. And usually it's not incredibly hard numbers that are on tests. And these aren't going to be incredibly hard. They're just going to be mildly difficult. So 10 and 2/3 plus 12 and 1/4. Okay. So I'm going to show you both ways to do this. First, we're going to make these into improper fractions. 3 times 10 is 30. And 30 plus 2 is 32. So 32 over 3. Plus 4 times 12 is 48. Plus 1 is 49. 49 over 4. Alright, so now we've converted these into improper fractions. This is going to be the not so fun part. We're going to find a common denominator. So, our common denominator is going to be 12. And we know that because 3, 6, 9, 12, and 4, 8, 12. That's why knowing your multiplication tables, memorizing your multiplication tables, is going to help you through your classes. Now, let's multiply. And this is why this is not my preferred method. So, 32 times 4. 2 times 4 is 8. And 3 times 4 is 12. So we got 128 over 12 plus times 3 and times 3. We got 147 over 12. So this is pretty challenging, guys. So we know our denominator is going to come over and be 12. So that's not hard. 12. Now we need to do a little math. Because I don't know about you guys, but I can't really do this in my head. 8 plus 7 is 15. Carry the 1. 2 plus 4 is 6 plus 1 is 7. And 1 plus 1 is 2. So we got 275 over 12. And as much scratch work like this as you need to do it. Whatever you need to do to get the problem correct is what you should do. So, we're going to do another bit of scratch work here. We need to turn this improper fraction back into a mixed number. So, we're going to say, how many times does 12 go into 275? Well, we know 12 goes into 27 2 times, with 3 left over. Oh, that's fun. And then 12 goes into 35 2 times, with 11 left over. So our answer here would be 22 and 11 over 12. And if you don't believe me here, 2 times 12 is 24. 3, 35, 2 times 12 is 24, 5 minus 4 is 1, 3 minus 2 is 1, so that goes over there. So our answer is 22 over 11. Now, 22 and 11 over 12. Now, I don't know about you guys, but to me, that was a lot of work. So let's see if we can do it quicker and simpler using the other method. And keep in mind, guys, the more work you do, the more chance you have to mess up. And I'm not saying that because I'm not messing up. I know I mess up. So I'm just saying that to help you out. So let's look at the method that we just did, the vertical method. 10 2/3 plus 12 1/4. So we know our common denominator is 12. 4 times 3 is 12. And 1 times 3 is 3. 3 times 4 is 12, and 2 times 4 is 8. So, we keep our bottom number, we keep our denominator, and we add our numerators. 8 plus 3 is 11. And now 10 plus 2 is 22. So as you can see, we did it both ways, but that way, I was counting, took about 5 minutes, and that way took about a minute. So you decide, but if you have 6 problems like this on a 30-minute test, and they take 5 minutes each, that's 6 times 5 is 30 minutes. So you just spent your entire 30 minutes doing these problems, when you could do 6 of these problems like this in 6 minutes. So, a public service announcement from Mr. Beatty. Work smarter, not harder. Be safe, guys. Cover your cough, and I'll see you next time.